All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's still spring, but it seems like summer. On this date, April 15th, welcome to the City Council Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, successor agency, Calexico Financing Authority, regular meeting on April 15th, 2014, tax day at 6:31 p.m. Okay, so I'll defer to our city attorney. No, we did not have a closed session, so there is nothing to report about. Okay, and call to order in attendance, and looking to my right and my left, we are a complete council, and that is very good. Now, will we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Chief Tavares, will you please lead us?
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We have some presentations today, and so we will
approval agenda.
Very good, very good. Who? C to B. All right, very good, sorry. And thank you, Councilman Kim. Yes, is there a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
I have questions.
You have questions. Okay, let's have the second and then questions. I was reading rules of order, and that's what they said we should do. So is there a second? Okay, now we will go to questions. Councilman Kim.
Yes, last meeting I requested the built municipal swimming pool concurred by the Mr. Castro, and by our ordinance, when the concurrence when they asked to put in the agenda, concurred by the other council member, it has to be in there. It's not in there, not in today's agenda.
Okay.
I don't know who has overpowered our ordinance. So, what is going on here?
All right, I understand your disappointment. City Manager, would you like to respond to Councilman Kim's concerns?
We can put it on the agenda, but the practical aspect is, if you recall, that the council had a joint meeting with the school district, and the council has taken an action that said that we were going to move forward with the school district.
Well, that one is the council decided for the school district, the joint project. I'm talking school and municipal pool. I'm not talking about the school swimming pool. So this one is a whole different agenda, and no one doesn't have to make the decision until we have that agenda and put it on the meeting. My agenda was a municipal swimming pool. The council had the meeting, joint meeting. It was an MOU for the school swimming pool, joint project. That's a whole different project.
Okay, Councilman Kim, all right, I understand your arguments, but to remind you, you did put this on the agenda a while back, and unfortunately, or whatever, it was voted down. But may I suggest that you have this concern, take it up with City Manager to determine whether we can put this on the agenda or not. All right?
You guys been putting the agenda back when we put it down. For example, the bingo games, we ordinance changed it, we turn it down, and then you guys put it back again.
That's correct.
So it's the same rules.
You have that. No, you have that right, sir. You have that right. Okay. All right. All right. You've expressed your disappointment.
Please put in the next agenda.
All right. Very good, sir. Is there? Okay. So we have. With that said, there's a motion by Council Mayor Pro Tem Moreno and Councilwoman Hurtado, a second. Right. All right. Please vote. Okay, it passes 4-1. The approval of the agenda. And now we will begin with presentations, and the first one is a proclamation of Veterans Appreciation Month, May 2014.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I got to receive the call from Mr. Eduardo Cota, who was supposed to be here. He's running late, may not be able to attend.
Okay.
So he stated to go ahead and give the proclamation, and if there's a veteran that is in the House, to present the veteran with the proclamation. And then we leave it with Ms. Gabby Garcia, so that Mr. Cota can pick it up at a later date.
All right, sounds good. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, here is the proclamation, Veterans Appreciation Month, May 2014. Whereas the people of an Imperial Valley appreciate and admire the thousands of men and women who served in the armed forces to protect and preserve their country and the freedoms enjoyed by all Americans, and whereas in war, international conflicts, and peacekeeping missions, men and women have been wounded, taken as prisoners, and died in the line of duty. And whereas veterans possess a wide variety of valuable qualities, including experience, maturity, leadership, and loyalty, that make them ideal candidates for employment. And whereas the city of Calexico is committed to ensuring that veterans receive the services and programs to which they are entitled, and to promoting employer interest in hiring veterans. And whereas during Veterans Appreciation Month, state and local agencies increase employer awareness about the benefits of hiring veterans. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Calexico does hereby proclaim May 2014 as Veterans Appreciation Month in the City of Calexico. And I will sign this, and I believe in every word. I know all of us do. So is there, once again, anyone in the audience that would just formally like to take this? Is there a veteran? No. Is there? Benny? Horton, you are a veteran, sir? No, are we taking photos?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we have photos? Benny, why don't you come over here and...
This is Veterans Appreciation Month.
Yeah, you are a veteran, and then
Who else
Mike-
is a veteran? Mr. Tavares, Chief Tavares, are you a veteran? No?
I'm better from the Korea, not here.
Okay. Thank you,
Korean
Jim.
conflict?
South.
He was in the MASH. The plaque, Mr. Hodge.
What?
Oh, plaque.
Okay, that's the one. Okay. So do you have any photographers here who'd like to take a photo of us? Anyone? Huh? This was on the spot. Okay.
Ad-lib. Mr. Condi?
Okay, so, Mr. Benjamin Horton is a veteran. I know that you are an outstanding veteran. I'd like to present this to you as Veterans Appreciation Month, a proclamation. And we must really, really try very hard, state and local level, to be very aware and employ our veterans. They deserve it. So, there you are. Give them a hand. Okay, and now we will like to make an adjustment here. I'd like the presentation by Linda Barber regarding the American Cancer Society to now come forward. Linda, you've spoken, and it's a pleasure to meet you now in person.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to present this information today, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Linda Barber. I work for the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, which is the nonprofit, nonpartisan arm of the American Cancer Society. And our goal is to eliminate cancer as a major health problem through public policy. Today, we have some presentations from the community members, and I'll be introducing them. The first presenter is a resident who has to leave early, and so I've asked him to speak first. This is Mr. and Mrs. Linda and Martin Ruiz.
Hello, we appreciate the opportunity to. We're residents of Calexico, my husband, our son, and myself. We thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to speak publicly about the problem of secondhand smoke. It's affecting us at our place of residence. We live in an apartment building here in Calexico. I suffer from allergies and asthma, and it has gotten worse in the past year. Now, besides the sneezing, watery, itchy eyes, and shortness of breath, I'm starting to cough, and the coughing is gotten worse to the point where I have trouble sleeping. I wake up at night sometimes. I have to get up early in the morning because I have a special needs child who goes to school in Imperial. I have to take him to the bus stop. He has to be at the bus stop by 6 a.m., and I'm not getting enough sleep. The cigarette smoke from the neighbor seeps through into our home. And the smell is there constantly. It's very bad, so I hope in the near future they make it a non-smoking area, our place of residence and other places too. Thank you.
Well, I first got in touch with the county health department because I saw what my wife was going through. It is a problem. It is a problem when people smoke right into the apartment. Say, we live in a second floor, and people just go to the stairs and smoke there. No, if you were to do something about it, which we would appreciate, was to take this secondhand smoking away from us. That would be pretty cool. And also, help to our children, the young children in the future. Please do something about it. We need it. If you take out this smoking, make Calexico smoke-free, that would be a great help. Thank you very much. Thank you all. And help us, please.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Ruiz. What we are going to do next is to introduce some of the community members and talk about the problem of smoking and secondhand smoke in our communities. And the next person I'd like to introduce is my friend and colleague, Sylvia Bernal. Sylvia, can you go to that podium over there? Next slide, please.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yes. My name is Sylvia Bernal. As you know, I sit on the Hefferman Memorial Healthcare District, where we also work very closely with the American Cancer Society. We donate to the American Cancer Society. I'm also the event chair for the Relay for Life that we just had last week. I'm an ambassador to the American Cancer Society, and I play quite a few roles because I have a vast interest in seeing that Calexico become one of the first smoke-free areas in the Imperial Valley. We as the American Cancer Society, our mission is to eliminate cancer as a public health problem. We know that policies that limit the places that people smoke have a different effect among youth. Our society-funded research public education campaign advocates effort more than 50 years, and from 1964, when the rate was 42%, it went down to 18%, showing that we have been doing our job. We have been out there telling people that secondhand smoke kills. I also want to tell you that at least 30% of all cancer death and 80% of lung cancer causes death are caused by tobacco. More than 43 million people in America still smoke, and tobacco will cause an estimate of 480,000 deaths this year in the United States. In 2010, there was estimated to be more than 42,000 non-smokers' deaths caused by the exposure to secondhand smokers. A healthy home is a smoke-free home, eliminating exposure to secondhand smokers. We are trying to ask you, the City Council, to pass this ordinance that is desperately needed. We don't need another reason to have people to die from cancer. We already have people that are dying from cancer without adding something that we can eliminate. This is something that we can really say we can prevent from people having cancer. And secondhand smokers, the first thing it affects is your lungs. And it's sad to know that there are people out there that have absolutely no respect for people that do not smoke. Some of us are fortunate to have our own homes, but not everybody lives in their own homes. We have the highest rate of seniors living in Imperial County, and we have a lot of other people that live in low-income apartments and housing authority, and you are also serving all of these people, and we need to start thinking about these people that are being affected by secondhand smokers. You may say, well, close your doors and the smoke won't go in. That's not true. It goes in through the vents. It just spreads like a wildfire. And we are asking you for your consideration on this issue and to help us start this ordinance that is very, very much needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. I'd next like to introduce the chair of the Coalition for Tobacco-Free Imperial County, Mrs. Sandra Cheney. She'll share some of the community perspective and the work that the coalition is doing.
Wow, I didn't think I was going to be nervous, but seeing all these people, I am very nervous. So if you see me stutter, then that's why. I want to thank you, all of you, for the opportunity you guys have given us for this time. I know it's a precious time for you guys, and for the time that we're going to speak to you. Thank you so much. My name is Sombra Cheney, and I work for El Centro Regional Medical Center, but I'm also one of the chair for the Tobacco Coalition for the Imperial Valley. And I just wanted to let you guys know who are we? Who is the coalition? And the coalition is composed of different agencies, different people from the valley, and we meet once every 2 months. And we can see that some of our coalition members, they're here, and I want to thank them too because they took the time to come over here. This is so very important. What we do, this is volunteer work. The only reward that we get is the education that we give our people, our community, for stop smoking. And this is something that I have been a coalition member for a long time, maybe 9 years. And you say, why so much? And the reason why is because I used to work in an asthma program, and I used to see kids that had parents that smoke, and a lot of the times they really didn't think very much of, I smoke outside. So I said, okay, when you go inside, do you take your clothes off? You go inside naked, or, because when you smoke, you penetrate your clothes, everything, so there's, So it's just educating people. So my kids will have asthma attacks, and they will be on medication, and you say, well, why don't they get better? Because what was making the asthma worse was the smoking, secondhand smoke from their parents. So this is something very dear to me that I wish I would never see a kid at the emergency room or at the ER gasping for air. And for us, like you guys heard say, for us, some of them, they don't have the luxury of having their own home and saying, I'm only going to have my family have secondhand smoke. No, because it goes through, like they said, vents and stuff like that. So I just want you guys to know who we are. And also, I would like, if some of you would like to come to a coalition, I would love for some of you to come. It's an invitation to come over and we meet. We can send you an invitation for the next meeting. And like I said, this is a work that I am so thankful and grateful for Linda that she's kind of guiding us through this process and stuff, because I live in Calexico and for, let's see, 33 years, and I think we need to have a Calexico-free, smoke-free place for our family and for our grandkids and for, for everybody. So I want to thank you so much for the opportunity again to having us here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandra. Next slide, please. So just wanted to make a couple of points. The secondhand smoke, according to the U.S. Surgeon General, there's no safe level of exposure. So even a small amount of secondhand smoke can make people ill. Not only ill, but they can actually increase their risk of dying. Healthcare expenditures for just secondhand smoke are about $5 billion a year. In Imperial County, the smoking rate is 13.7% of adults and 12% of youth grades 9 to 12. But that means that the good news is that almost 85% of your residents are non-smokers, and they deserve clean air. Next slide. In November of 2008, a survey of California voters was conducted, and the survey results are in your packet. But it showed support for many types of policies for secondhand smoke protection. 78% of the people support a law that requires buildings to offer non-smoking sections, and 73% support a comprehensive ban on smoking in all areas of every community. Further, close to 75% of the residents indicated they'd like to live in a development with a smoking section, that they prefer to live in one with only a smoking section, but 95% said that they would prefer to live in a completely smoke-free area. We've been out talking to residents about this for over a year now, and in a local survey, 80% of the residents indicated they'd like to live in a non-smoking housing complex. The members of the Coalition for a Tobacco-Free Imperial County are asking you to draft an ordinance that will protect everyone living in multifamily housing from secondhand smoke exposure, and we look forward to working with you. Next slide. So we already heard from Martine and Linda. Next slide. Just a couple of points to give you some background about this issue. The California law, which you have a copy of an information sheet about implementing California's smoke-free housing law, was passed in 2012, and it gives landlords the right and the ability to make the rental property smoke-free. They always had that, and this codifies it in law. But many have already adopted smoke-free policies because of these benefits. For many people, they want to live in smoke-free housing, and they will look for that. So they get more customers. Cleaner grounds, preventing cigarette-related fires, reducing resident complaints and confrontations between neighbors. And probably one of the more important parts, aside from the health issues, is the cost to rehabilitate units when smoking is prohibited versus a unit when smoking is allowed, about 7 times more expensive. So for property owners, it makes good business sense. And one of our property owners, managers, was supposed to be able to come, but he got tied up. Next slide. From bylaw management, they have the smoke-free property already. And for them, it makes good business sense. Residents want it, and properties are sought after. So it's good for business, and it's good for community members. Polls show that 82% of California renters would prefer to live in an apartment complex where smoking is not allowed at all. And so we really want to make sure that you understand that this is something that's good for business as well as for residents. Okay, so I'd like to introduce a youth. Her name is Teresa Vargas, and she is going to talk about the youth perspective.
Good evening, council members. My name is Teresa Vargas, and I am both a resident and a high school senior here at Calexico. I am currently a member of 2 IVROP programs. Both phases for the Future and California for Health, and we promote healthy habits for students and adults across the Imperial Valley. The reason I stand up for clean air is because the ability to live in a smoke-free home is a choice that everyone should have. Unfortunately, for those who live in multifamily buildings, such as apartments and condominiums, secondhand smoke from neighboring units has become a real health issue. Also, secondhand smoke can trigger asthma attacks in children and increase the severity and frequency of asthma. Children whose young lungs are still developing are especially at risk. Secondhand smoke exposure can keep them out of school due to increased illness and ear infections too. And such was my case as a child, as I had both parents smoking and in their own private bathroom in the house. But it seeped through all around the house, and sometimes I couldn't sleep at night. I had to miss a lot of school, and it was a real big trigger for my asthma. According to the 2006 Surgeon General's report, non-smokers who are exposed to secondhand smoke increase their risk of developing both heart disease and lung cancer by up to 30%. There is no constitutional right for smoke. California's anti-discrimination law does not apply to smokers. And please take action to protect our health and give all the Calexico residents the right to breathe clean air. And as you can see, this is just a portion of the almost 500 petitions signed by Calexico residents here that are also advocating for clean air all throughout Calexico. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So, next slide, please. So we're here because we really believe that a city and a county or a county ordinance is effective for the entire population. Voluntary policies protect people who live in the property where the landlord and or property owner or manager is supportive, but we want this protection to be able to be enjoyed by everyone. It protects more than 80% of the adults that don't smoke and families, and it does save lives and improve the health of our community. We know that people already have a smoke-free ban in their homes. Most people, even if they do smoke, have that, and we want to make sure that those people are protected. So we believe that cities and counties have a responsibility here, and I wanted to acknowledge that the Calexico Housing Authority has just joined 26 other housing authorities to adopt 100% smoke-free policy for their residents. We'd like to see that for everyone in Calexico. Smoke-free housing policies are not new. We've had policies since about 2008, and right now there are 55 communities that have some form of a smoke-free policy across the state. They have laws that limit or prohibit smoking. They have, some of them have established 100% smoke-free units. Some have a mixture of maybe 80-20, but more and more communities are finding that it's much easier to deal with when it's 100%. This also gives the property manager some leverage so that they can address the problem in their own properties by having a law that protects everyone. It also puts all of them on the same level playing field where they're all smoke-free, and it provides protection for all of the residents. You have in your packet a piece that's called Top of the Class. This is a description of 17 different jurisdictions that adopted the strongest protections, and they cross different sizes, different demographics, and the different income. And I think you'll find, if you take a look at that there are several cities that closely mirror Calexico's demographics, and you can see that it's done. We also included a matrix of all the policies that have been adopted by cities, and what some of the particular components of their policy are. So the city can pass laws that restrict smoking everywhere or anywhere. One of the things we believe is important is disclosure. So in the lease, having that information and the disclosure of what will happen if that's violated. Having it in all of the units provides that protection, but also having it in balconies and near doorways and entryways provides the protection. As you know, the smoking areas, the non-smoking areas in restaurants years and years ago weren't particularly effective at keeping the smoking away from the non-smoking areas. and it's the
Cooking
same
my burger, and
issue
she's got a
with
cigarette in
smoke-free
her mouth.
buildings.
I'm looking at the ashes. Are they
So we believe that as a minimum requirement, have disclosure. We would like to see you adopt a 100% policy in your new and existing units and have a time period of transition. Do this for all affordable housing, but also all of the market rate housing. Having buffer zones is important, so between buildings and in common areas. And some cities have adopted, including tobacco smoke exposure as a nuisance. Certainly is for most people, and putting it in the law can protect people when they're exposed and they don't have other options. More than 100 communities have passed smoke-free policies. Frankly, Calexico is a leader in the valley. You have more smoke-free policies than any of the other cities, and we'd like this to be continue, and we'd like to see you adopt a policy that can protect 100% of your residents. We really want to recommend that the City Council considers the harmful effects of exposure in the home and makes the development and implementation of a policy of 100% smoke-free units, covering all public indoor areas and some outdoor areas, perhaps with the designated areas. And this we believe will save lives and protect our citizens. And we really, really very much appreciate you giving us the opportunity to speak. Myself and the Public Health Department stand ready and able to work with you if you so direct staff to develop an ordinance. We have language for the ordinance. We can provide you with connections to other cities that have already done this, and we are ready to help you do that. And just as a point of fact, so many people in this room are from our coalition. We want you to know that we really do support this, and we would encourage you to do that as well. And that concludes my presentation. I very much appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Linda Barber. Nick, okay. Mr. City Manager, what has been given out in this presentation, I think, is extremely, extremely important. In a proper timeline, I would like very much to put on the agenda a possible ordinance for smoke-free housing and be able to establish some policies. I think we should continue to be the leader in that. So if not, we need to call these people and coordinate. So if not in the next agenda, then the following one, sir. Okay? So I make that request.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
it may take a little bit of time.
That's what I thought.
To review the ordinances. I do have, one of our other clients does have a very, I don't know if it's 100%, but it's close. So we'd obviously want to look at that one because
Sure.
that city has been using that for quite a while.
Right.
But just so that you're aware,
I
drafting an
understand.
ordinance and making sure it's
No.
enforceable and workable for
No,
Calexico.
we'll do it right. We'll take our time and we'll do it right. But I want to
Thank
move
you.
forward on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have another packet for you, Madam City Attorney.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, now we'd have a presentation, looking forward to this, by the Beautification Commission on commission activities.
Good afternoon, City Council.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
coming in behalf of our chairperson, Marianne Valenzuela. She was out of town, so she wasn't able to make it. And so, to give an update on the Beautification Committee. So, beautiful is defined on dictionary.com as possessing qualities that give great pleasure or satisfaction to see, hear, think about, etc., delighting the senses or mind. The people of Calexico are beautiful. We are a mixture of colorful and eclectic personalities. However, our city's public spaces have not been able to reflect this. Our goal as a committee is to increase community pride by reflecting the character of our city through vibrant public spaces. This can be achieved through many avenues, for example, public art, and this promotes local culture and heritage, and will serve to provide the city with character identification. Landscaping, this is where culture and nature meet and influences the character of our city. Now, we have some frustrations because we find that many of our ideas fall under the jurisdiction of other committees, such as Park and Recreation or the Arts Council, the Arts Committee. Therefore, we have no authority to move forward without the involvement of other committees. The only thing that we can do on our own is set up park cleanup, but many of parks are being adopted and we don't find this necessary. So we have some questions, and these are we here to be an advisory board to the Parks and Recreation and Arts Committee, or are we here to take action? The other commissions have priorities that they have to take care of first, and we find that our ideas loses momentum once it's passed on. And if we're here to take action, we would need the following. Number one, we need authority to move forward with some of our projects without the need for approval of other commissions, or maybe just have the city council's approval and the other commission's blessings. And funding. Can we have some money allocated to the beautification committee each fiscal year?
Good questions. City Manager, the point about that he's indicating that there's no authority, independent authority that they need to appeal or go to other commissions. How true is that, or what is that situation?
Well, I'm not sure, I haven't reviewed your bylaws, but I'm sure your bylaws gives you authority to do certain things. And so when you say you're subservient to other commissions, I'm not sure that I follow that, since your bylaws should give you authority to do certain things.
Well, for example, when the times we would want to do a park cleanup, we have to go through Parks and Recreation to see if they approve that. And then we need like the proper equipment and then paint and stuff like that. So it kind of just goes back into Parks and Recreation. And if we want to like beautify the city by creating painting some murals or creating a monument, it goes back into Arts Committee.
I would venture to say that, obviously you want to keep the other commissions informed of what you're doing, but if you're cleaning up like a public area that you feel, the commission feels that they should move forward on, there's no reason why you can't place a request to staff to assist you with doing that. I don't know if I'm following exactly. I just don't see where the conflict, I can see where some conflicts could arise and that you have to keep them on notice, that obviously you don't want to step on any toes. But by the same token, if you're doing certain things that you're allowed to do under your bylaws and you need assistance from staff, then certainly I would encourage you to get a hold of us.
Okay. And the other thing is like, as a committee, we're seeming to look more like a cleanup crew, like clean up this park or clean up this area, but we have some ideas that we want to implement that have a even bigger impact. For example, repainting the water tower. Like I've approached some of the council members and public works director, and we want to see like what do we have to do that, because that's the first thing that people see as they're coming into the city, and that can create a different vibe, something so simple as that.
Yeah, in that particular case, and I don't know how far you've gotten talking to staff, but obviously, as you well know, that takes in other issues such as the structural viability of the facility itself and who would paint it and what the cost is and so on. But we're certainly open to talking to committee members about what they would like to do, and if we can assist, by all means.
So then how would we be able to fund, because we don't have a budget at all?
Well, the funding would have to come through the council, so we'd have to make a request for the council to provide certain funding. We do have certain funds in the budget, Such, for example, we have an account that we put in some funds in our budgets every year for publicity and promotion. If it's viewed as a promotional feature, we could potentially tap that fund. But without knowing exactly what it is or where you want to go, it's hard to tell you a carte blanche right now.
Well, two things, Mr. City Manager. Obviously, Beautification Commission is more than a cleanup crew, right?
I would hope so. Under your bylaws, it would state
Okay.
more than that.
All right,
Correct.
so we have to study the bylaws. Look, but I would like to suggest, could we have a meeting with the Beautification Commission? I'd like to be present there, and any other fellow council member would like to assist or participate. And we can really sit down and listen, because you have a lot of concerns, and right now is not the time or the forum to do that.
Sure, just get a hold of my office and we'll put together a meeting and we'll go over some of these
Okay,
issues.
we'll do that.
Why don't
Angel.
we select 2 from the beautification, 2 from Parks and Rec,
Yes, good idea.
2 from council? That would be,
That's what he's trying to say, is that they'd like to be able to know in particular what their
So you
goals
think-
are. So maybe not.
Maybe don't
not
invite
just
them.
Right.
yet.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
All right.
I
That's what
think
you're
the
saying,
first,
Yeah, we need to hear you out first.
the first step is probably to find out what is it that they want to do and what do your bylaws allow you to do, and then where we can step in to assist.
Okay.
It's like, I really believe that you are a very, very important commission, Angel. So let's have that meeting. We'll do that.
When you guys have the meeting, what city staff member is present?
Nick Servin.
All right.
Okay? All right, Angel, we'll move
Okay.
forward on that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Angel, for drawing that to our attention. Okay, now, very happy to say, presentation of Employee of the Quarter. What do we have for that?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I know this is one of your pet projects, and you
Yes.
asked that this be...
Don't say pet.
You asked that we go ahead and reinstitute this, because
Yes.
I know at one time they did have this program, and so we went through and we evaluated the guidelines for this program, made a couple of adjustments on the program, and decided to move it forward for culmination the first quarter of this year. So what we're presenting tonight is the first awardee for the 2014 calendar year.
All right.
Under the program, the restructured program of Employee of the Quarter. I'd like to say a couple of words about this employee before we provide them with some gifts that actually were provided. One gift was provided by the community, but we'll get to that. But this employee has worked with the city for over 7 years, and some of the things that people said in the nomination documents that were forwarded to me on this individual was that this person always was looking at ways to streamline duties. This person was a pleasure to work with and always went beyond what was requested, was very reliable, is very reliable and self-driven, is very friendly and is always a team player. Her attendance is impeccable and her productivity levels are very high. This person provides high level of customer service, which we all know is very important in a public agency. And this person overall is an excellent employee, the type of employee that we know we have more of, and we would hope that we are going to be awarding a lot more as we move through this program. So with that having been said, the Employee of the Quarter for January to March of 2014 is from the Finance Department, Mrs. Sandy Fonseca, who is in the audience.
She is good. Excellent.
The plaque that we're going to award Sandra with is says City of Calexico Employee of the Quarter award presented to Sandra Fonseca for outstanding job performance for the first quarter of 2014. Congratulations. find it. And this particular award was actually donated. The program is actually started with our businesses in town stepping forward and contributing to this program by donating gifts for the awardees. In this particular case, for this quarter, the award comes from Applebee's so that her family can go and enjoy a nice evening.
Your hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. That was very nice, and we will continue doing that. Okay, now we come to the moment of announcements. Let's see, have I done everything? Yes. Announcements, public appearance, and public comments. Not to exceed 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. If the item you wish to comment on is a closed session or consent item, please comment now. If the item you wish to comment on is on the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comment when we get on to the item on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. Okay. Well, I'll just go with what order they are at this moment. And so, happy to say, Mr. Carlos Herrera, would you like to come forward, please?
Good evening, City Council Mayor. I'm Carlos Herrera. I'm the Calexico City historian and founder of the Calexico Historical Museum.
Mr. Herrera, could you move the microphone closer to yours?
To you, sir. Very good.
As I do every time we have a presentation, and we call them presentations because we don't have a permanent building yet. So we do have presentations, and the next one, I'm inviting the City Council, City Manager, and the staff, and the public in general. The event will be on April 26th of this year from 1 to 5, and which is the same time that we always have. It'll be at the Carmen Durazo Center, and there will be speakers as we usually have. This is a special presentation because it'll be the history of the Calexico Chronicle. The Calexico Chronicle started in August 4th of 1904. Mr. J.G. Overshiner was the first owner, and he was the editor, the printer, and the janitor. He started the first publication under a mesquite tree on Imperial Avenue. And later on, the Chronicle was sold to various owners, and history, of course, will be told at the presentation up to the actual owner right now, which is Mr. Larson. The admission is free as usual, and there will be refreshments, etc. The speakers and Mr. Mario Conde, who is an employee of the Chronicle at this time, and he's present here, will be one of the speakers. And now, the Historical Museum, the effort that has been made and continue to be made is to tell the people of Calexico, especially the younger generations, of the extraordinary history of little Calexico. Most people take it for granted. We're a small city, but I have to add that Calexico is world known. people from every country in the world has visited Calexico, especially because of the cotton business. They would come to Calexico. We had all kinds of movie stars, John Wayne, and you name it, Cantinflas, Jorge Negrete, Pedro Infante, they all came to Calexico, and also the big bands also came to the historical De Anza Hotel. Most of this information, and a lot more, of course, is in the book that I wrote of the history of Calexico, which goes back, and according to historians, 2,000 years or before. This area that we consider home supposedly was part of the ocean. Because of the Colorado River, we would not be here today. So all this information, I believe that all of you parents, grandparents, and especially teachers should make an effort to have the students go to the Historical Museum and listen to these speakers. We have had all kinds of speakers. I think we inaugurated the museum about 5 or 6, 7 years ago.
Mr. Herrera, I'm sorry to interrupt you, very sorry. Your 3 minutes is up, but it's extremely important what you're saying. So if you could just put closure to it.
So, again, I invite the public, and hopefully you will take your children, your students,
Yes.
so that they'll know how this area came about, and mostly that they know the sacrifices that the grandparents, the parents made to make this our home, and what we have today did not happen overnight. There was many sacrifices made in order to have what we call our beautiful Calexico.
Thank you so much, sir. Very, very important. Thank you. Give him a hand. I will certainly have my U.S. history class attend. Thank you very much. All right then, next, Ben Horton.
I'd like to defer my time to include with Yolanda in reference to the finance.
Okay, so you want Yolanda to speak?
Together on this part.
Your time and her time?
Yes.
Okay.
6 minutes.
Good evening, City Council, City Manager, and the public. My name is Yoli Cordero. I'm the Chair for the Finance Advisory Board. And I know that we've been here a lot hammering our finances, and we're getting ready for hopefully some workshops at the end of April and try to figure out how we can overcome our deficit. What I bring to the City Council, and I'm going to read it to the public so they're aware of it because it is public record. What we've been doing is looking at, again, the payroll, our situation, which is the biggest expense for the city. So we wanted to see what were the top salaries that we have here in the city of Calexico. And we narrowed it down to 10, the top 10 salaries for the city of Calexico. And in those top 10, we have 3 management positions. One is our city manager, Oscar Rodriguez, and again, this is public record. His wages, $187,277.48. Our fire chief, Peter Mercado, he's at $124,906.64. And our water manager, Jose Saldaña, he's up to $116,576.28. Those are the 3 top department heads that have the salaries. And the other 7, and we're not picking on anybody, but these are the numbers, and this is what it looks like, are 7 police officers. Our first police officer that's up on top, his name is Frank Uriate. His base salary is $75,168. Other earnings of $6,015.72. His overtime is $78,527.60 up to March 30th of this year. His total wages up to date is $159,711.74. 50% of his salary is overtime. The second police officer is Germán Duran. His base salary is $74,865.33. Other earnings of $2,834.84. His overtime is $44,388.95. His wages up to March 30th is $122,089.12. 36.4% of his salary is overtime. The next police officer is Jeffrey Jimenez. His base salary is $76,370.24. Other earnings of $1,000. His overtime is $40,988.03. His wages up to March 30th is $118,358.27. 34.6% of his salary is overtime. The next police officer is Rudy Alarcon. His base salary is $65,768.74. Other earnings of $5,052.45. His overtime is $46,054.39. His total wages up to March 30th is $116,875.58. 39.4% of it is overtime. The next police officer is Victor Flores with a base salary of $62,283.78. Other earnings of $5,302.31. His overtime is $46,481.49. Total wages up to March 30th is $114,067.58. 40.7% is the overtime. The next police officer is Victor Legaspi Jr. His base salary is $75,600.70. Other earnings of $6,279.67. His overtime is $31,272.28. Wages up to March 30th is $113,152.65. 27.6% makes that overtime. The last of the top 10 is Sean Acuna. His base salary is $67,166.63. Other earnings of $5,509.64. His overtime is $38,789.43. His wages up to March 30th is $111,465.70. Total, it's 34.8% of his salary is overtime. So the total payroll for these the 3 managers and the 7 police officers up to March 30th is $1,284,481.04. This is our job in the Finance Advisory Board to see how we can help save our finances, because the money that comes in is being given to the City of Calexico, our manager, staff, and our City Council to administrate our money, okay? So I know that we need public safety, I understand that, but this is a very high price for it. We've been hammering at this for several months, nothing has been done. And just to add a little note there, one of the things that we also looked at was this overtime has really accrued from January. The majority of the overtime has been from January to March. Between July and December, there was very little. There was a lot of people out, but it was less overtime. And from January to March, there was, the majority of the staff was in, so there was no need for overtime, but yeah, we put in a lot more overtime.
Yolanda, I'm sorry, you need to put closure.
I'm pretty much done. You know, it is what it is. These are the numbers, these don't lie, and I just don't understand when you guys are going to do something about it. Thank you.
Okay.
I just have a question though.
Sure.
Under other earnings, you have the base column, other earnings, and overtime. What falls under other earnings?
The police officers get some extra pays for example, if they get education, they get a little extra earning. They get stuff for their uniforms. John, help me with that. I know we've talked about it. So it's a uniforms, training, or if they got a certificate for this, just little extra little things. That, now, in all fairness, the way this is structured has a lot to do with it, with the negotiations that go on with the unions, okay? So I know that at one time, we could afford this because we had a lot of sales tax coming in before 2008, and we couldn't see all the bleeding that was going on. But now, since there's not enough income coming in, now we can see all the holes.
Right.
And the thing is that we all had to adjust our lives because of the economy. Well, so does everybody else. The only thing is that the city has not adjusted. You know, you're not making the same kind of money, it's not coming in. So, and we haven't adjusted. And I mean, we have to go back to the unions and to the employer and says, you know what, I'm sorry, the good times were good, but now we just have to readjust.
Okay, Yolanda, appreciate your hard work. These are certainly unsettling, dramatic numbers, but I do have good news for you. We are in the process of hiring more officers. This is a debate as to what is really the solution. But the good news is I've called for a workshop, public safety, sort of a city manager's term, come to Jesus meeting. And we're going to lay all this on the table, and I know that the police department at this point in time is on the defensive. But we're going to bring all the facts and information, and so look forward to having you at that meeting.
I mean, there's no need to be in the defense, and the facts are these. There's nothing else because it's in black and white. And there was one thing that in our comments here is the overtime at the year end of June 30th of this year will be $1.1 million in overtime. We could have had 10 police officers, and we would have had it in the budget for about $700,000.
I know. But the workshop hopefully will come to some real solutions, Yolanda, that you have been hoping and working towards. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just a correction for the record, Jose Saldaña is not a top department head, so there's only two top department heads in the top 10.
Okay, so a regular employee at the water plant makes $116,576. Now, how could that justify that? I mean, how could an employee, and I know what's his education? I mean, come on.
Okay.
So we need to fix these things.
My heart is racing, but we'll come to solutions. I already have. I'm heavily medicated. Okay, just kidding. Don't Facebook. Okay. Jeez. Everybody go. All right, let's go. Next, we have on the, thank you, Yolanda, Sylvia Bernal. Once again, are you there? All right.
Good evening again. I'm not here to complain. I'm here to try and work something out. We just had a Relay for Life event, and you were there, Mr. Hodge, and I want to thank you for being there. But there was a little bit of a conflict. There was 2 other events going on. There was a car show that was going on, and then there was something that was going on in the Carmen Durazo's art.
That's right.
And it created like, we made $35,000 when last year we made $55,000. It affected us tremendously. And I'm sure that it affected also the ones from the car show and the other ones that were going on. And I already went to the chamber meeting to voice my opinion on this. I think we need to have some type of a calendar whereas all of us don't have an event on the same day, because it hurts all of us. And I'm just here that maybe we can do something, because if we would have known this car show was going to be put on the same day, we would change the date. And we usually have it around the middle of April. We can't have it in May because it's too hot. So I'm just asking the city council if we can work something out maybe for next year, because, you know, we're here about cancer. We're here, the money that we raise stays here in Calexico, And it saddens me that we work all year long and we stay for 24 hours, and Maritza was there too.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being there. And you know, as we talked earlier, cancer is in everybody. We just lost one of our committee members, and it saddens me to see that priorities are not, being taken care of the way they should. We need to have a lot of research. We need money so we can find a cure for this. Somebody put on Facebook, "I wish cancer got cancer," and that stuck with me. And I do too. I wish cancer got cancer. We just lost Aida Villaseñor, who was a committee member. She was a team captain. And here we are trying to raise money so we can help with her funeral expenses. It's bad enough that you have cancer, and yet you still have to worry about how you're going to bury your loved ones. And that's my concern. I just want to find some
Okay.
way, maybe we can have a community calendar ahead of time, and people can sign up, and this way it won't affect.
I think the car show normally has their event in March,
Okay,
and I think that they extended it an extra week, and I think that's what happened.
yeah.
Okay. But Sylvia, the car show was wonderful. The other event I didn't get to attend, but I will agree with you. The Relay for Life should be a top priority, and I don't think anything should compete against it. But your point is also it hurts the other events. So, City Manager, I really would like to take this in consideration. I hope I have the support of my council members. We really need to make sure that when they do event, that there's nothing really competing against it, if it's possible.
Yeah, maybe we can get together, not only the city, but also the chamber. Maybe we can decide who's going to have a community calendar where we can all report it to.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned to the chamber meeting too, that we all need to, you know, everybody wants to have a fundraiser and be successful, and it hurts all of us. It's not a complaint, it's just a concern. Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, moving along. I can't, it's Yolanda, but I can't read the last name. Cunningham?
Yes.
Yolanda Cunningham, please forgive me if I've said your last name wrong. Yolanda Cunningham? She left already. Okay. Item number 6, we'll wait on that. And at this point, I believe that is all the public announcements. Okay? We have one public announcement, but that's on item number 6. Okay, so let's move forward, ladies and gentlemen. We have general comments by the council. And Councilman Castro, would you like to go first, please?
Okay. Yes, I have a question. The Measure H City Council approved to promote the sergeant for the police department. Have you done it, Mr. Oscar Rodriguez, or if not, can you give us an update on that? Because for me, that's one of the reasons there is too much overtime on the police department. Can you explain us and also to the public the update on this issue?
As far as we can tell right now, and certainly we can have more details for the workshop that we're going to have, I believe there is one sergeant vacancy and one officer vacancy. I believe the Measure H had approved one sergeant and one officer, if I remember correctly. So in reality, aside from that officer and that sergeant, we are fully staffed at this point. We do need to, and we have two that just got hired, two officers that just got hired. JPIA is going to be down here, I want to say in 2 weeks, I don't recall the actual date, that they're going to be down here. And we're going to go over our procedure for hiring a sergeant just to make sure between JPI legal and ourselves that we do not put ourselves in a situation where we potentially could end up in litigation. As you know, we went through this once before, so it should not be a big issue. We just follow the same procedures, or at least that's what we're looking to do. So we just want to concur with them to make sure that everybody's on board, that we're following the same procedure. And once we get that done, we will move forward with that position.
So what you mean, we need to work, we need to wait for JPIA in order to move forward, to hire two sergeant?
We only have one vacancy.
One vacancy?
At this point.
So we need to wait for JPIA?
We need to make, we don't need to, we want to make sure that they are on board with what we are doing. We don't want to end up in more litigation than we already have. So we just want to make sure that we run through the steps one more time, just like we did with the last promotion, to make sure that all our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. And we should be able to do that in the next couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks, you're talking about 15 days, 3 weeks?
Well, I don't recall, I know that they're going to be down here, but I don't, you don't know, Gabby, what date they're going to be down here. I want to say it's going to be within the next 2 weeks. I don't recall the date.
2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's it, Mayor.
Okay, very, very good. I would like to have my moment right now for general comments. Oscar and Nick, is it true that the federal government wants, the issue is about annexation extending to the east and the Border Patrol there, that there's going to be an important meeting Thursday, and it seems like that this might be a golden opportunity for us to extend. They're asking for us to do infrastructure?
Yeah, I think that's a LAFCO move, but we have been, and Nick certainly step in at any time, we have talked to the federal government, and it's through the federal government because it's the Border Patrol, which I believe is under Homeland Security now.
That's correct.
And they have, as you know, or may not know, but they have moved out to the east side of town. Okay, they gave up their station here and moved out to the east side of town.
Right, roughly about on 98 in Barberworth? Or?
Correct. Actually, inside of that parcel. There was reasons why they moved out there, because they made it very advantageous to move out there, the owners of that property. And they have approached us about providing services to that parcel. The problem that we're having is that what they are proposing, in our opinion, is not a benefit to the city, okay? They're not in our city limits. We have no requirement to provide services. And at this point, what they have proposed, again, in our opinion, does not benefit the city of Calexico, because we don't have any, for example, one of the issues is we don't have any future maintenance of the line even if they pay the line for us to tie them in. So there's some issues that we're talking about, and of course one of the things that they have talked about was that the benefit to the community, because they have so many employees. Well, the benefit to the community is going to be there regardless, because who's the closest city? We are. And so we're going to get those services regardless. They're not going to go to Brawley or El Centro to go for lunch or whatever. But without getting into the details, because we have talked to them and we tried to negotiate with them, the negotiations were not culminated simply because we did not feel that it benefited the city to take care of somebody outside of our city limits when we're trying to take care of our own citizens within our city limits. The benefit is just not there at this time. Now, LAFCO, you can address that, Nick, maybe, because LAFCO is moving forward, I guess, to do what? I'm not sure that I know about the Thursday meeting.
Well, they're set up for a hearing at 8:30 Thursday morning, so I'll be attending that particular meeting, and they're just going to hear them out, read the application, and again, their station is a mile out. Initially, they didn't want to put a penny into the project. Now they're willing to pay for some of it, but see, they need two lines out there. Not to mention the chemicals and the treatment and the resources that we need to expend out there, which then cuts our resources too.
Okay, Nick, but Wow, I don't know. I mean, I kind of see this as an opportunity. I would like for you to go there and again, try to be open and work with the federal government. How far are they from the official
mile.
edge of our city?
A mile.
A mile. And this would be a great opportunity to take baby steps and work on our master plan to grow to the east.
I would agree under different circumstances. If we had our sphere of influence all the way to the canal, then that would be more approachable. But right now, it's just way too far. And there's a big section of line that is going to be there for long-term maintenance. It's going to be getting old by the time we get out to that area. That line is going to be subject to replacement.
Well, I think we'd be happy to talk to them again.
I would like for you to do
I know that
that.
I have not been approached since the last time I talked to them, which was a while back. But again, I think we need to, whether it's the federal government, state government, whoever it is, I think we need to make sure that it's a benefit to our community. And when we're talking about servicing people outside of our community, when we're having a hard enough time servicing people in our community, I think we got to take a hard line on that and make sure that it is a benefit, because just because they give us a line to go out there doesn't mean they're going to maintain it. What happens when it breaks? What happens? Who's going to take care of that? So, again, I feel a little frustrated that they haven't come back to talk to us, that they're trying to go through LAFCO. It's a little frustrating because you'd think they would have called us by now. But
All right, don't want to get in all bogged down, our time is over, but please really reconsider about opening and trying to work with them. I think this is a good opportunity as far as a plan of little by little extending and annexing to the east.
Right. And by the way, Mayor, I've been talking to them since June 2012.
But are you telling me they're not willing to work with the city?
They're the 800-pound gorilla in the room, so.
What, LAFCO?
No. Border Patrol, Homeland Security.
All right, that's just my comment. All right, I'm way over. We're going to make that grant deadline for active transportation, is that correct, sir? May, what is it? It's May 21st, I believe. We need to do that, that's all I want to say. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Moreno.
Mayor, I have nothing at this time.
All right. Councilwoman Hurtado.
And with regard to a comment to what you just mentioned, the Border Patrol, when they first built that, I'm a little confused, and I would love to be able to go to that meeting with you, Mr. Servin. Now that tax season is over, I'm available. Because I recall that when it was first built, they didn't even ask the city of Calexico to be involved in taking the line out there. They actually hired somebody else to do that job. And now it's kind of interesting that now they'd go directly to LAFCO and ask for all of this to happen. So I would love to be there with you and be involved with that issue. Yes, I was at the Relay for Life last weekend, and actually I always wanted to do Relay for Life for many, many years. Ever since my mother passed away 16 years ago, I did Relay for Life back then. And I hadn't had the opportunity because they always do it during tax season, so I forced myself to go this year, and I'm really glad I did. I really enjoyed it a lot. I sat next to someone from an oncology agency here in the Imperial County, Vantage Oncology, and I learned a lot from him that day, and a lot about many different things that are going on in the city of Calexico, and I had a lot of fun, and I actually won the grand prize too, so that was worthwhile.
Good.
I now have a real TV. I also had the opportunity just recently to visit with the homeless task force we have here in Calexico, and that is a group consisting mainly with the neighborhood house that handles a lot of our homeless issues and the Catholic charities, and basically putting ourselves together to continue the planning and the work to do to assist in managing the homeless here in Calexico. And it was a good meeting. There's going to be some events and some continuous efforts to continue to help the homeless population. However, at the same time, what they're trying to do is they're trying to put them all into a system, a management system tied with the county and San Diego. And the other nice thing that happened is that Neighborhood House showed quite a bit of concern with regard to emergency needs for some homeless individuals. And the Catholic Charities actually kind of did a little trade-off with them and allowed for them to know that they were willing to provide at least 5 emergency shelter spots per day towards the neighborhood house where they would be able to have some solution for that. So that was a very interesting couple of last weeks here from my perspective as a tax preparer. It was a crazy year. Government shutdown didn't allow us to start till January 31st. So it was a short season, but it was very productive, I believe, because many of our residents were able to apply for the Affordable Care Act. And that helps a lot of people, especially when it comes down to things that we're talking about today about cancer and things like that. So it was a good thing. It wasn't a good thing to lose Ida. You know, she was our friend, and I know John knew her really well too. And we're gonna miss her a lot, and we're gonna hope to work together to avoid and allow people to have more birthdays instead. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Hurtado. Councilman Kim.
First of all, I have some grand information about the youth mentoring service, which is probably Powell police was called the Athletic League, probably can use it. I believe they have 3 grants for each grant's $1 million. And I'm going to give it the information to the police chief. Maybe we can try for that. And I'm not sure about this one, but we can allow it. And the drinking water development utility service, they have a couple $100,000 grant information there. Then I'm going to give it to Mr. Selvin. And the other one is Mr. Hart was mentioning, kind of like disappointed. We are just like the paper tigers. We don't have any power here to make the decision. Looks like our staff making all the decisions before the council. I'm very disappointed on it. They were contacting us more than 6 months ago, and they've been talking. And I don't know who made the decisions not benefit for the community, and they're not in the agenda. And now they go on the agenda on the LAFCO. They have a hearing agenda this Thursday, 8:30 a.m. at the IID board chambers. I'd like to see the community members, if they have time, to go to concern about that. That, for example, we have the border patrol facility. Before they have between the city and the border patrol facility, they have an empty lot, now full with the houses. And the federal government's facility is going to be one of the big motivation to our city's growth.
Yes.
And I believe we have to find a way to get all the benefit out of it. Even if we have a water line and sewer system that we already ready for the growing to the east, what is the unbenefit for the Calexico? We have a big point from there. And I wish not to our staff make the decision before the council. That if there is some issues, big issues like federal governments, we should know before they go around us. And just look at what happened to the detention center. And council didn't know, and they built. We lost good revenue. And because that, the Imperial police officers, they are nearby the Calexico, they ticketing our citizens. I believe our staff has to be a little careful before they making decision. They should not overpower the council. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Councilman Kim. And yeah, some good points made there, sir. All right, that's my opinion. All right, we are through now with general comments by council. Mr. City Manager, please.
Just 2 items. On Monday, I met with Tim Walsh, who is the Chief of Staff for Congressman Juan Vargas, And we went over a couple of items that were of concern. One, of course, in the top priority being the port of entry. We discussed that and what is being done and the procedure that they're moving forward to try to promote it being kept in the president's budget. And obviously the first big step was to get it into the president's budget, so it is there now. So there is recognition that, in fact, a port is needed. They will be sending us a sample letter along with who they've already contacted in order to get support letters.
Yes.
And at this point, I shared my concern with them that I hadn't heard from any council members that we were moving forward with at least a top position on moving this project forward. And I asked who was the people that were moving this project at this time with them, and the names I got were Danny Fitzgerald, John Renison, and Mark Baza. And I was concerned that those names did not include any of the names from CoCLX. So I shared my concern with him and asked that we be included in this, given that we are the border city, and even though we believe that this is a regional impact, and we should support ports of entry in San Diego and San Ysidro, and vice versa, that we should be included in this movement. So he agreed to do that. They're going to be shipping us a list of who they've already contacted. They're also going to be giving us a sample letter that we can have our constituents sign and send to the appropriate people with copies to the congressman so that we can continue to move this
So we
forward.
haven't done that letter yet.
There's a letter that they have,
Right.
they have structured that they're going to provide to us so that we can move it forward. But certainly, I think that the mayor should be at least a key point in our community to move this forward. And Tim
Concerns
agreed.
us, CoCLX.
Well,
so
we do
you're
have a
absolutely right.
subcommittee.
You have
But
a
there's
sub-
a subcommittee with the HAWK, that's a whole different entity.
So anyway, so I don't get off track.
We'll work on it.
But I think the whole point, my conversation with my whole point was that we needed to have a contact person in Calexico, given that this is where the port of entry is. And so he agreed, and he told the staff there to provide us that information. Another item that I discussed with him, of course, was the casino and what the status was with that and BIA. And he informed me that as of 2 weeks ago, that there has been no response on what BIA has requested from the Manzanita tribe in reference to be able to move the application forward. So I will be contacting them to find out why the holdup and what is holding it up on them providing the information so that then we can again put the pressure on the BIA. As you know, the BIA had not responded for almost a year. So finally they did respond, so we need to make sure that we keep on top of it and keep the pressure on them. And he certainly was willing to help through the congressman's office to try to move that, but certainly advises that we need to get the information in order to be able to put the pressure back on them. So I will give them a call and try to move that along and make sure that those items get on board. The third item that we talked about was just in general funding on the border, and if there was any funding available because of the federal impacts on our community, because of obviously the traffic flow that comes north and through our community. He was very honest with me and straightforward and said that the funding is just not there at this time. I specifically talked to him about Stone Garden, and he said he was going to look into it, but he said that we shouldn't be surprised if Stone Garden continues to decline because they are also having their own issues up at the federal government. And so he said, be careful with that. Don't rely a lot on that because as far as he was concerned, they were looking that was probably on the decline. I also asked him officially for a meeting here in Calexico as I believe Councilmember Kim had requested at one time. And so I officially asked him to please consider providing the congressman to us at an official meeting here in Calexico so that he could address some of these issues. I know that they're going to be having a meeting in El Centro, and they call it a mayor's meeting, and I believe the mayor has been invited and myself. But I think it was important to mention to him our frustration that in fact this trip around he was not going to come to Calexico, and I certainly did express my concern on that and asked him to please put us on the agenda for his next visit, which will be the second week of February. And he promised that he would. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm glad you caught that.
Wow.
Everybody's awake. Okay, no. Next month.
Oh.
Sorry.
May.
Yeah, it's
How
going to
did
be
you
a
get
while
that
before he
mixed
gets
up?
down here.
February.
No, it'll be in May, and so he told his scheduling people to get a hold of us so that we could schedule that for the second meeting in May. And I don't know if there's any preference, if you would like to have a noon special council meeting or afternoon, but they're willing to work with us. So if you have any preference, please let me know.
Okay.
So that I can try to schedule it with them. But
Noon's fine with me.
but we'll try to schedule either at the noon time or 4:30 on,
Okay.
so that the public can come
But I don't
and
know.
make it.
Okay.
I think this
We'll work it.
afternoon we're going to have a little more.
This afternoon,
Yeah.
better for you? Okay.
Yeah, that's
So we'll try to schedule maybe a 4:30, because I know that if it gets too late, he may not make it, but I'll try to make it as late as possible
Oh, yeah.
to allow the public to
At
come
least
in.
about after 4, if we can have a little more extra time with them.
Okay.
And the second item, and I think it goes without saying, that we do have great employees at the city of Calexico. And I just wanted to bring this out, and unfortunately he isn't here, but recently our fire chief was selected by the Imperial Valley Fire Chiefs Association to be the Imperial County Mutual Aid Coordinator. The position is responsible for all mutual aid coordination that occurs within Imperial County, or when the county resources are requested to participate throughout the state of California or Arizona. So again, I applaud our employees. We have great employees out there, and every time we have something like this, I think it's important that everybody knows that, and we spread it throughout the valley, because we have great employees in the city. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. All right, now let's move on to consent agenda, excuse me. And we have 3 items. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second it. All right. Please vote. All right, that's encouraging. That moves along swiftly. Now on to business items. Number 4, we have a discussion and/or action on approval of resolution of the City Council of the City of Calexico hereby agreeing to participate in future Imperial Integrated Water Management Plan, better known as IRWMP. Water planning efforts and/or updates. A little background on that, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, this is an item that we are trying to collaborate with all of our different sister agencies, and is being led by, I believe, the IID, to try to formulate a regional water management plan. And in fact, there's a lot of work that's already gone into this. In your resolution, you'll notice that under the whereas, it talks about now therefore be it resolved, the City of Calexico hereby adopts the 2012 Imperial IRWMP as endorsed by a majority of the stakeholders attending the October 18, 2012 Water Forum meeting. And in order for us and for you, hopefully, to feel comfortable with it moving forward with this, we've asked Antonio Ortega with the IID to please give us a presentation as to what this plan consists of, so that hopefully you can feel comfortable in adopting this resolution.
All right, welcome, Mr. Ortega.
Good evening, Mayor Hodge, council members. It's a pleasure to be here before you once again. As City Manager already mentioned, some of you may recall when I presented before you back in 2012. At that time, the City of Calexico became one of the stakeholders to the Water Forum. The Water Forum was made up of all the local cities, IID, County of Imperial, some of the nonprofit local agencies, and any any stakeholder in the community that wanted to participate in this forum. So just to fast forward to what that did, as a result of those meetings and stakeholder communication, outreach efforts, the Imperial County Integrated Regional Water Management Plan, or IRWMP, was developed. What this does really is it provides a roadmap for the region to establish not only regional goals and priorities, but also some missions about future funding opportunities, not only for the city here of Calexico, but all the cities and the stakeholders that made up this forum. The Imperial region is one of 4 regions found within the Colorado River funding area. Based on Prop $84 that that were available to the state of California and approved by the voters of the state, there were about $36 million made available to all the regions that make up this Colorado River area. From those funds, the Imperial region can qualify for up to $17 million in the current grant cycle, which will be very soon announced, and some of the deadlines for that can come as early as July. There is currently some guidelines and information that was presented by the California Department of Water Resources. So we are in fact already moving forward, and the Water Forum actually held a couple of meetings this past month. One of them was held here in Calexico. Some of your staff attended to update all the regional stakeholders on these grant dollars and really inform the cities and request that if there are any projects coming down the pipe for the region, that we should be ready to submit those grant applications in a very short notice. So that's something that is currently happening, and just as a way of an update. So again, just wanted to provide you that information and request, one of the prerequisites to making sure that the regional stakeholders are able to qualify for these grants is the adoption of what is this regional water management plan. So the plan includes priorities and more than anything, goals for the mission: water supply, water quality, flood management, stormwater management, environmental protection, and any projects that really fall under that umbrella. But this would be in partnership with all the other stakeholders. This is a live document that every year will be updated, and as things come online for each of the cities and the participants, they will be discussed among the region, and then those projects that are considered priorities will be, in fact, submitted to the state for those grant dollars. And this is something that's just going to continue. This is really the beginning of a process that is now really adopted by the state, but also the federal government may soon adopt these regional planning type of projects. So I can answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Does this entity help us understand how important, well, obviously how important water is, and water may become, I don't want to sound like doomsday, but a very scarce resource, and how we can preserve our water?
Well, and yes, and that's really the reason that the California Department of Water Resources and the California State Legislature have adopted and asked that the regions collaborate amongst themselves, because the water supply here is different than it is in Northern California. As you know, they're facing severe drought as we speak, so there are some monies that are going to those regions to offset and mitigate some of those issues. But in the future, what's not to say that something similar like that happens in our region? So once we come together and have these priorities established and outlined, we can put together very quick action plans, and this is really what this entire plan is asking us to do, and that's why we're here today asking for your support.
Absolutely. Well, that was just my one question. Anyone else?
Yeah, I believe that we need to learn about the water. As for the future, pretty soon it's predicting water world. Actually, right now we lost a lot of water to the Mexico. Mexico, they had the right. They didn't know. They found their right, and they're pulling more water from the Colorado River. So what happens? We having less water to us. At the same time, we're selling a lot of water to over to San Diego and Los Angeles. And we have to find our way to defend our water right. I believe before we make some decision, we need to have a more carefully to watching on it. Our water is it's going to be very important source for the city growing too. So I believe if we have some workshop little together to exactly learning how our water structure, including our staff and council, to what is really water to our right going to be future, And after we make this some workshop, maybe I believe they made a good job, but we need to have our own decision we might gonna need our share more. I cannot see much clearly right now, so what is it really impacting us? We just relying on from the IID, whatever these entities say, well, we're gonna do for you, so you just support us. But if we say we might gonna end up cutting more water, that means we're gonna have the more water bills up, and our farmers gonna have less water.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I can address some of your questions, I think those are great questions, and you're correct. Waters in California and throughout the nation are, they're very scarce, and every day there's more demand from the urban areas. But that's all encapsulated into the laws of the federal government for the Colorado River rights. We have rights to that water. So the cities who buy the water from Imperial Irrigation District, this plan does not impact any of your water rights, nor does it impact IID's water rights and anybody else. So adopting this regional water management plan does not bind the city to any additional jurisdiction, any additional policies. This is merely a planning document that will allow the city to take advantage of opportunities for funding that are coming through the state of California. In absence, and I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry for interrupting.
In absence of the city, which is the last remaining city to adopt this plan, if there is an opportunity for you to apply to some of those dollars, or for the city to apply to some of those dollars, they will not be available because you are not one of the stakeholders in this regional plan. So I will urge you to please support this, because we're not asking for anything. In return, though, we are allowing, and the state of California is asking, that in order for you to apply for those dollars, you need to be part of this water forum.
Yes, but the thing is that the money, we can also ask for money, but what sacrifice it, we cannot see that clearly yet. So I like to have some workshop before we make the decision. This is going to be impacting for our future. If we get the money, that means they're going to get more water. Will be less water for us.
No, that is incorrect. I'm sorry.
So that's what I'm saying is that we need to have a little more spending time to understanding what impacts on this project and what water's future for us. So right now, every city is very fighting with the water now, and we have to. Before we do, I'm not saying that this is a bad ones, and I'm not trying to reject it, but as an elected person, whatever make the decision, this is going to be impacting future of the city and citizens.
All right. Okay, very good, Councilman Kim. Well noted. But let's make a motion on this.
So moved.
All right. Is there a second? Second motion? I'll make the motion. Okay. And I think we'll still have a workshop when we approve this.
Yeah, but this one before
Okay.
when you said this still have a workshop, if we approve it, workshop doesn't mean anything to. You might can implementing. You might can request something.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kim. Councilman Kim. Please vote. Right?
Yes.
Once again, we're voting on the City Council of the City of Calexico hereby agreeing to participate in the future Imperial Integrated Regional Water Management Plan, IRWMP, water planning efforts and/or updates.
And just a question to
Yes.
Mr. Ortega. We had something similar passed in, I believe, 2012. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Again, the Water Forum will meet annually to discuss projects, and that's when
Water Forum.
the public is invited to attend these forums, as they have been doing, the city council members, the city managers, anybody that is considered a constituent of the Imperial region, which is the entire Imperial County, can attend these workshops and discuss what really are those issues.
Okay.
So yes.
Let's vote.
Wait, can the public have ask any questions?
City Attorney, on this issue? Can
Yes.
you come forward? All right, please
If
come
there's
forward.
any public comments, you should
Okay,
take those.
please come forward.
Thank you. This one or this one?
Oh, it's fine.
Which one works? Okay. Question. I think I understood what you said, and that you're here to ask us to join with the rest of the cities on this water treatment or plan or whatever it's called.
Management plan.
Yes.
I'm sorry for the way I expressed myself. And the urgency is for us to join in so that we can apply for this grant money that's going to be available for the Imperial Valley cities of about $17 million, so that we can apply for those grants to do whatever is under the umbrella of water issues that we might have. And that's why you're here, to say, hey, you want to get on board? Otherwise, you're going to miss applying for $17 million in grants, which are going to take place to apply for in July, right?
Correct.
So-
As soon as July, yes.
So why is that so hard to understand?
Not for me.
Okay, so I hope that you guys all agree to
I'm ready to vote.
in favor and
Ready to vote, Yolanda?
and then start our departments to start applying for money.
I'm ready to vote, Yolanda.
Okay, good.
You're holding us up.
Okay, go. Now. That's what I'm here for.
Please vote. All right, the resolution passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 5.
Mr. Mayor, the next item, I would have to recuse myself.
Okay.
And I spoke with the city attorney on that, and she used a certain way to explain. I'm sorry, what did you say?
A disqualification related to
disqualified.
your business
Yeah.
interest.
Okay.
Okay.
All right then, thank you. All right, Councilwoman Hurtado is going to recuse herself. On item number 5, let me read the requested action. City staff does not recommend that the City Council waive any fees, cost, fines associated with applicants' request for such. Resolution number 10-17 does not give authority to staff to waive any fees or charges owed to the city. Only the council has the authority to reduce or waive such fees. This is regarding Mr. Ricardo Plazola.
Mr. Haji, we don't have any public comment on this?
Yes. Mr. Plazola, please come forward and allow me to say something first. I've been giving clarification on your issues. Mr. Plazola, I was concerned about your situation as a small businessman because I really want to make sure that the city is supporting small business. I need to communicate to you, Mr. Plazola, that there's been some clarification for us by city attorney, and the administrative citations that are back here. Legally, the council does not have a right to waive those, sir. You have to go through the administrative appeal. So what we only can look at right now, Mr. Plazola, is the possible waiving or some kind of payment plan or not regarding the $5,000 for the sewage, sir. So once again, we've been informed that we do not have the legal right to waive administrative citations. So that would go to the administrative appeal, which you have all that right to do, sir, Mr. Plazola. So with that information, would you like to comment or say anything?
What do I have to do now?
We can only address today the sewage in waiving. The citations, we don't have a legal right to waive that.
There's some citations that I'm not even supposed to be fined at the first place. That's why I've been trying to tell these guys. And about the sewer, I think it's the city's responsibility, not mine.
Okay,
Then
sir.
they tell me that I gotta pave the alley. The alley doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the city. And to get my services to my property, I need around $9,000 with the city and the IED to get sewer and power, which I think it's a lot of money. That's why I'm here, to get your help or your support, whatever you guys can help me, to move in there. I bought it like 4 years ago. I've been paying property taxes, and I get nothing in return on that property because I can't do nothing in there. And I'm just trying to get my
It
services.
concerns me too that you're being held up and not being able to move forward as a small businessman. Any other council members want to make a comment or respond to his situation?
Sure. I agree with the citation ones. In a way, we don't have to overpower for the citation.
I was told that, sir.
But in case of if we give the wrongly citation, that means that they have appeal to.
That's right.
For the appeal for the citation. Even myself, I had some kind of a citation from the wrongly. They using not same the ordinance to try to give me a hard time almost 1 year. And when we're applying the citation, we should be using right law, right ordinance, but sometimes they don't. And the issues here, I clearly understand that they had two lots together, they have one lot. And then when they subdivided, when they subdivided in certain way and they missed the point or the whatever to mean, but the land is subdivided. So sewer system passed through other place, the next lot. And so what happens? The city found it for later whatever saying they obligate to Mr. Plazola to move the sewer system on the other side of the street. So this is not the Mr. Plazola's new project, which is he's not asking the connecting the sewer system. The sewer system they already been there before he bought the land, and for whatever reason the city missed it when they sublet it. So when they subdivided, they missed it. It's nothing to do with his responsibility. The city is responsible to taking care of that one when they make the subdivided. They might say, oh, a long time ago, the county was subletted, the city is not knowing about that. Then the city still have allowed responsible for that because it's been there. And then in this case, we're not waiving the fees. I believe
It's not a
our
question
item,
of waiving.
not a waiving. The city is just taking care of our responsible to taking care of it. And the other way is unfortunately, the individual, they cannot touch the sewer system. They connected only doing by the city, by the ordinance. So the city has to do it, to taking care of the whatever has been wrong happening with the past, and then they want to move it.
I have a question for Mr. Servine. That area that we're talking about was first zoned as residential, correct?
Correct.
Then we saw industrial uses, because I know that corner lot that is empty, there used to be a house there. And then they have, right next to it is Mr. Plazola's property, is that correct?
My property's in the middle.
Right, it's next to the corner, there's a corner lot
There's a
that's
corner
empty.
lot. That's where my property, my sewer used to go through. But now they
And it would go to Emerson?
Harold.
Or Harold?
It used to.
It used to go through Harold, but my neighbor's property to Harold. But they told me to move it to McKinley.
Which is east and west.
But you had that sewage already.
I had sewage before. It had all my services before there.
So in other words, that sewer pipe goes from his lot, under the lot adjacent next door, and it hooks up, correct?
That's what he said. We were trying to look to see if there were any easements. Whenever you do a lot split, you have the subdivider has the responsibility to be able to provide the services after the lot split. That's in the Subdivision Map Act. This was probably done prior to the Subdivision Map Act, so that's why the Subdivision Map Act got prepared. In any rate, it just so happens that we did a property search on the property, and we did not find a sewer easement. And because I told The easiest way to do would be to revive that pipeline. You can retrench and reinstall the sewer line there. Therefore, all these fees would be gone. It's just a matter of laying new pipe. And he says, well, you know, the pipe's bad and so on. So I told him that it's easier to lay pipe than to try to make a new connection. So we exhausted ourselves trying to see if there was an easement. No easement was found, and then he didn't want to bother going in that direction. So then I told him, well, if you don't bother trying to get an easement through here and reconnect, then your only recourse is to install a new sewer line, and that's where we're at, $5,000 for the sewer line.
But if I go through my neighbors and he built something and he wants to cut off my sewer, he can go ahead and cut it because it's going through his property. So I'll be in the same position as right now if I go through my neighbor's property.
Not necessarily so. Once you have an easement, then you have rights as though it's your property.
But you said there was no easement there.
We didn't find an easement. This is after you said that there was a sewer line there.
What's an easement?
An easement is a right to a section of land for whatever purpose it's assigned to. It could be utilities, it could be access, it could be any number of things.
Thank you.
But the issue is that when they subdivided, city Mr. obligate them to have an easement or change the city. Yes.
Subdivided.
When they subdivided, they missed the point to let them have an easement or to make them to change it or to subdivide a different way, then they shouldn't be infected. But they did without any precaution. Now the citizen has to pay for that. That's not fair. It's the cities, lots of cases the city makes a mistake, whatever reason, the city has to take care of it. We cannot tap on any public citizens to do it. And in case of if we keep pushing this way, and we're going to get sued because the city is entitled to be responsible for what has been done wrong.
Possible litigation.
Possible, yes.
I'm not following what he's saying, but.
Rebuttal to that or comment, Mr. Savine?
Well, this was split. Actually, when the whole subdivision was created, it was under the county of San Diego. So the split probably occurred still under the county of San Diego. So the city wasn't even in force at that time. We were a city, but the jurisdiction to do the subdivisions was under the county of San Diego. We did find that in the research of the title report. So the city is not at fault here.
But still inside the city jurisdiction, whatever been done wrong, they have a grandfather right to supposed to be there.
Let me ask a question, Mr. Servine. Have any other areas similar to this been in a situation where this was in dispute in the city of Calexico? In other words, like, you're talking about a lot split where there's no easement or access to the sewer?
Right.
Is this the first of its kind?
There's probably some others around, and if the sewer line is working, then leave sleeping dogs lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that comes to. But let me just explain the procedure. Currently, if somebody does a lot split, whether it's 1 to 2 or 1 to many, the procedure is the same, which is you have to petition, go through planning then reviews the records, does some research, and the developer, in this case the owner, would have to show how he's going to service all the lots that he creates. That is, if he requires easements, he has to show easements. If there's a sewer line, sewer main, water main out there, then he has to show how he's going to provide service to that lot. Bottom line.
Forgive my ignorance, but
yes,
you'll forgive me, won't you? Did you say you already had a sewage going? Is that not an easement?
Well, that's
Can't he continue
based on what
with that?
Based on what he said, Mayor. We did a research. We hired a title company to do research to see if there, in fact, was an easement. The only easement they found was one that belonged to IID for power.
When the first time I called the city that I was looking for my sewer, that's when they stopped by and they told me it was going through my neighbor's property to
Your sewer.
My sewer to Harold. They told me that I had to move it to McKinley because I couldn't go through my neighbor's property anymore. So I moved my sewer all the way to the sidewalk, and then they told me it was going to be, the first time they told me it was going to be like around $8,000. Then they brought, last year, they brought it down to $5,000. I believe it's like 45 right now. So, I don't know. So they wanted me to go to McKinley, not to Harold anymore. So.
And again,
Why not, Mr. Servine?
Excuse me?
Why the decision to have him change?
Well, I don't know anything about that discussion, but I did tell Mr. Blazzola that if the sewer line is there, even if it's old, collapsed and so on, if the sewer line is there, he can try to get an easement from his neighbor. That's always been on the table.
That's what has to be done.
That is the easiest solution for everybody.
Were you aware of that, Mr. Plazola? Did you try doing that?
I haven't talked to my neighbor about it, but I can probably go ahead and do it, but I don't know if he's going to want to, though. It's not, I don't know.
It's gonna be, if I'm the landowner, if I'm the house owner, I won't accept it.
Will not accept it.
No, because it's future, my land, I don't know how
Right.
I'm gonna use it. That's what I'm saying, it's early beginning in certain way, whoever to had the authority at that time to had missed the point when they subdivided. And the city is granted the success in all those things, we are successing their responsible too. So whatever they've been doing wrong, or whatever might be city, might be county, nobody knows right now. And I believe this one has to be taken care of by the city.
All right, Councilman Castro?
Yeah, well, around probably 15 years ago, it used to be a auto shop on that property, right? I believe that was an auto shop on that property. What was the, back then, what was the practice? How the city deal with that business? That's my question on that time. It used to be.
That there was an auto shop there?
Was a auto
Okay,
shop.
and the question is what now?
My question is, how on that time, how was the sewer and the water? Who was?
I think I know where.
My question is, was a business? Right now, you mentioned it's a residential area, right?
Yes.
Back then, there used to be a commercial because the city gave them a city permit for auto shop. Why, until today, this person is struggling to work with the city? Like Mr. King mentioned, supposedly, if there is a subdivision on that area, so how come we don't work with this person, Plazola, in order to help with the sewer? Because on that time, nobody paid attention to that situation, so that's my concern.
So is your question that his property was an auto shop? And therefore,
back then, like probably 15 years ago.
well, yeah, whether it was last year or 5 years ago. But the point is, you're saying that his location, property, was an auto shop. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it was a business.
His location.
Okay, it was a business.
Like,
Okay.
was commercial. On that time, it wasn't, I don't know how, right now you mentioned it's a residential area, right?
And I think I know where your question is going. Let me answer that. If it was a business, if it was anything else that was permitted at the time, that would be viable so long that within 6 months, if it changes ownership, that business continues. Now, if it's vacant for more than 6 months, in this case, I believe it went a year or two before Mr. Plazola got it, then all rights are diminished or eliminated. So it reverts back to R1, residential, to answer your question.
Okay, because already been 15 years?
Well, it's been more than 6 months.
More than 6 months.
Yeah, but that is the cutoff, 6 months.
For example, this is right now residential areas, John?
If your house, for example, Mr.
No,
Kim.
I'm talking about this case.
Okay,
Is
well-
residential? Zoning, zoning was residential or was commercial?
It is residential, and back then it was residential. However, what several people have said, including Mr. Castro, was that at one time it was a business. If that was a business, then it was permitted at that time. We'll assume, just for the sake of conversation, that that was permitted.
What was permitted?
It was a conditional use permit or variance?
Could have been that, could have been any number of mechanisms that got it to that point. But let me finish my
Let him
thought
speak,
here.
please, Mr.
So that would continue until such time that that somebody vacates a property. Once they vacate it, and if it stays vacant for more than 6 months, then it goes back to what it was originally, which is residential.
Residential.
Yeah.
So in other words, the only use that he could use it for is a residence?
Right now.
R1 or RA? R1? Single-family dwelling?
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, 'cause
Regarding
I'm
that
lost here about the
question,
sewage.
It's a mixed zoning. I believe if the neighbor is not complaining, if there's a business next to it, I don't see why it's a big problem.
Yeah, but we're talking, we're not talking about zoning.
Industrial, semis go through there, trains wake you up at 3 in the morning.
Okay, but the
the train
issue right
tracks are
now
next
that we're
to-
discussing
Okay.
is the sewer line. Whether it was a business or residence, it really doesn't matter. The
doesn't
fact that
matter.
you had something there, a structure, and it was being sewered for the sake of conversation, that sewer line, that trench is there. Therefore, that connection on the street is there. The easiest way to go from point A to point B is to talk to your neighbor, get that easement so that you can reinstall that sewer line.
Mr. Selvin,
Yes,
so when was subdivided this?
I don't know.
You said you had a title search.
It was subdivided sometime before the city of Calexico covered that area.
Mr. Servin, if he requires to go through his neighbor, which to me seems an easy solution here.
Yeah.
But Mr. Kim says the
Let me
neighbor,
finish.
I'm sorry.
Would there need to be, I'm sure there would need to be something in writing and certain agreement based on both parties. I'm thinking that he maybe not, Mr. Plazola may not be aware of this other possibility.
I made it abundantly clear several times.
That was afterwards, though, when you said that. But first, you wanted me
When
to
you-
go to...
Yes, I mentioned it when you first brought up the fact that you already had a sewer line. I said, well, easy, just retrench that sewer, replace that sewer.
But I have
Didn't
to
I tell you
ask
that?
my neighbor's permission to do it?
Well,
Or
of
no?
course.
I have to ask his permission, or?
Well, right now, you have to ask his permission to give you an easement through there because we did the search and there's not an easement for a sewer line. There's an easement
And
for,
it's someone else's property.
on somebody else's property, which that is appropriate. That is
That
allowed.
empty lot on the corner.
Yes, yes.
Okay, but how much is that going to cost you to do that?
No, I don't know.
Oh, well, okay, Yoli, you need to come forward.
We'd offered to try to work with Mr. Plazola in very many ways, and I still have some ideas how to make it work. The point is that if he's got a sewer line connection out there in the street that exists right now, the easiest thing would be to connect to that. If he needs to get an easement through his neighbor, then so be it. And he can position the easement so it goes along the side of the property, therefore it doesn't encroach into any buildable area because there's setbacks. So problem solved.
Would that be something for you to consider, Mr. Plazola, before we take action or?
Well, whatever it takes, I just want to get my services there, you know? And if our politicians cannot help our citizens, then why do they ask for our vote if they can't help us?
I think this
I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for money for the city.
Yolanda, you're not allowed to speak, Yolanda. You have to come forward.
I think this is a city policy that's in place, and I'm sure that there are other ways that the city allows, or the politicians, or the council allows for growth and development, but I would rather than take action on this item, I would rather look at another alternative with Mr. Servin to go through the easement for the neighbor's property, which probably would, save a lot of time and money.
It would save a lot of time and money.
Why didn't they tell me that at the beginning? I would have
Okay.
already had my sewer there.
All right, that seems promising, Mr. Plasola. I know you've frustrated, waited very long. So let's hold that thought, okay?
Wait a minute, we have the sixth councilwoman here.
Sixth
Thank you.
Councilwoman
I'm the sixth
Yolanda.
man. God, I forgot what I was going to tell you guys.
That's okay.
Mr. Blasola, and we know we're friends y todo, because we vote for a city council doesn't mean that
I don't,
when we want something, we're going to get it. have-
Yolanda, you have to direct it to us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We don't
I'm
want to
sorry.
get
Okay.
in an exchange here.
Because we vote for you guys doesn't mean that you owe us a favor. You just have to do what is right. But I know that unfortunately, a lot of the things are done because of favors. Now, when we had our business, we had easements between ourselves and the Rio Secos, and we had to get an attorney to take care of that. And we had to connect sewer lines, and we did a lot of things, and we spent a lot of money. But ours was a bigger project. But, I mean, unfortunately, this is a price when we're small, because we're small, it costs to run a business, and connecting sewer lines and all that, that's the price of being in the business, and I'm sorry that it's happening to him, because, we do need businesses and we need jobs, and you just need an attorney to do that easement, and you connect to the neighbor, and you're set to go.
Why do I have to get an attorney? Can I just ask the neighbor to do it?
Direct it to us, sir.
Huh?
Direct it to us, please.
Do I have just ask the neighbor permission, or I gotta get an attorney?
I
get an
think
easement?
these things can be worked out in a meeting. I think there's some promise here. Mr. Savine, you are very open and willing to work where Mayor Pro Tem said, and I'd like this, to save you time and money. All right? I'm for any business person where we can save you time and money. Because if we make obstacles and large fees, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And I don't want to be anti-business. At the same time, there are fees and there are proper protocol. So let's work this out. Let's have a meeting, okay?
Okay, I make the motion to our staff and Mr. Plazola to get the easements to
All right.
fix the sewer system. If not working, to bring the next meeting to
Yes.
taking care of this
Okay.
for the finalize it.
Does this require a motion and a
No,
vote?
at this
No.
point, it's just direction, because
All right, it's direction.
It's not an action.
So you heard Councilman Kim, and I concur with that. All right?
So if nothing happens, can be done,
Well,
then
let's see what the process brings forward when they meet.
It seems like Nick has some new ideas here, or he's bringing them forward again. So maybe this will be positive for you, Mr. Plus.
There's not even an air conditioning company in Calexico, and it's really hot in this desert. There's no air conditioning company. You guys don't help business get started,
Well,
But now
let's
someone's
have
trying
this
to help
meeting and let's try to help,
All
Mr.
right.
Plason. Okay?
Thank you.
All right? Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. That is item number 5. Moving on to item number 6. We can, Councilwoman Hurtado can come back, right?
Yes.
Go get her.
Out of the streets. Yola, you can't leave yet?
Be nice, Yoli. Where is she? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Here she comes.
Next time, be on standby, please.
John, you didn't take your happy pill today, did you?
I was sleeping. Apologize.
All right, very good. We're complete here. Item number 6, award, there are 2 items, requested actions. Number 1, award the bid proposal from Aggregate Products Incorporation in the amount of $2,294,928.53. Base bid for the street improvement project asphalt rubber composite layer overlay plus 10% contingency, which amounts to $229,492.85. Requested action number 2, authorize city manager to sign an agreement between the City of Calexico and Aggregate Products Incorporated for street improvement project asphalt rubber composite layer overlay.
We'll
Any
make this
background
very
on this,
simple
sir?
because I know we're getting late in the night
Yes,
here.
please.
But this is a project that you've all been asking for us
Yes.
to do some streets.
Can you tell me what streets again?
You'll have a number of streets. If you turn to there's a master map that we provided
Oh,
about
yeah,
4
I'm
pages
sorry.
in. And it provides all the streets that we're
Yes.
talking about 25 streets.
Lots of streets.
Yes, and we are hoping that, I was talking to Public Works about this, about trying to do these projects twice a year. We have the money, we need to put it out on the streets, so I would hope that you support this. and
Oh,
move
you
forward on it.
absolutely, I do. I've been complaining about this, so lots and lots of streets.
I have a question, Mr.
Yes.
Mr. I'm looking at the street list. Correct me if I make a mistake, but I don't see Cole Road. Is that another?
No.
That's
It's
coming
another
up,
project.
that's coming up.
The bidding, right? April?
Yeah, we just got the funding approval from Caltrans.
Yeah, that was a separate thing, but the bidding is April.
Then unless there are any questions, I move for its
But
approval.
I want to know about
Okay,
Cole.
I have
The
some
bidding is April what?
We are in the bid process now.
We are,
Yep.
okay.
There are some issues that we need to address, but we
Okay,
are in the
we'll
bid
clear
process
those.
now.
Okay, that's a separate.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Councilman Kim.
We've been pushing this one, I believe, our fellow council members, they were
Yes.
pushing fixing the street. We had money from this one, I believe, we have about $13 million issued the street money. We're not spending. Why not this one also last year? Why have to wait until this year? That's my quick question. We have money was waiting for us, and then we didn't do it. And I like to see more this kind of project to come more
Well,
expediting to fix our streets.
I agree, and I believe city manager said we're going to work on twice a year, correct? So I understand your concern, but gee, Councilman Kim, let's be happy that this
Yeah,
is happening.
I'd like to have a more expediting this
All
kind of
right.
project.
We have
Okay.
4 pages of streets that we
Okay,
need
lots
to
of
do.
streets are going to be worked on. So is there a motion?
I motion for
So
its approval.
moved. Okay,
Second.
second.
Second, okay, moved by Councilwoman Hurtado, second by Mayor Pro Tem. Please vote. Unanimous. Let's get to work. Thank you. That's excellent. All right, item number 7. Yes, sir. I apologize, Mr. Guzman. You're
Is it
absolutely
still
correct.
relevant? Because we voted on it.
Okay.
We voted to approve it.
Well, he has a right to comment, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Mr. Guzman.
You know, I just have a question. This happens during last of my time when I was here. Somebody came in order to repave the streets here in downtown. And we had a plan of 5 years.
5 years.
Replacing the old pipes, the old sewer lines, because they are old. And you know, ever since then, I came back and I see this town just going digging and digging over the new pavement to replace a broken pipe just about every other night. So please take that in consideration if you're going to start doing this over the old pipes again. Believe me, that's where all the money has been gone. That's why we don't have no money now. We're broke.
Fix the pipes.
Fix the pipes, fix all the, every time the people doesn't use the water.
We have bad pipes.
You bring up a good question. Are we still, have we replaced all the clay pipes that turned to?
No, there's still quite a few,
Working
out
on
there.
that, Mr. Servine, the pipes?
But actually, the action you took tonight with the RWMP helps us to go for grant money to repair some of those pipes. So that is actually a good thing.
Yeah, please do so, because I know they spend a lot of money in overtime.
Yes.
Overnight, when people doesn't use the pressure, they break. Those lines are way
Brittle.
rotted out. They're from 1920s, please.
Very important concern.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Please.
Mr. Guzman, thank you. Okay, so we have voted on that, and let's move on to item number 7. Councilman Castro to make appointment to the Business Improvement District and Finance Advisory Board. Councilman Castro, excuse me, sorry.
For the position of, as a commissioner for the Finance Advisory Committee, I would like to appoint Mr. Lalo Lopez.
Lalo Lopez?
Lalo Lopez.
Okay. Not here,
The
sir.
other position for the bid,
Bid.
Business Improvement District.
Yes, sir.
I would like to appoint Javier Gonzalez.
Javier Gonzalez. All right, very good. Okay. All right, then.
I have some pull-out commissioner.
Okay.
There's one is also library commissioner.
Vacancy.
Vacancy, declaring the vacancy library commissioner. And
I think we can't do that right now, Mr. Kim.
yeah,
Can we do that, City Attorney?
Well, he can mention it now or under future agenda items. He's not taking action tonight, he's
Okay.
just saying
So,
that on the
vacancy.
future
Okay.
agenda.
So they can announce it to the vacancy.
You can,
Yes.
you can announce it, sir.
Yeah, so the other one is Economic Development Commissioner. I'd like to declare for the vacancy too.
All right,
So I can put the future agenda.
very good.
Then in that case, I also want to declare a vacancy in my, which one is it? It's Eric Ortega, because he's a school board member now. No.
Advisory? Advisory? Finance.
Economic, that one.
Yeah, economic.
Just let me clarify, do you need an item on the agenda so you can remove them, or have they resigned from the commission?
He's basically resigned. Do you need a letter?
Yes, if they submit a letter that they've resigned, then that gives the city clerk the right to
Excellent.
then go ahead and advertise the vacancy.
Okay.
If they haven't willingly resigned, then as council members, you have to take action to remove them at a future council meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank
We
you.
need a short workshop for all the rules and procedures.
When they have a 3 times.
Or a quick email to me would work also. Okay.
Ms.
or
Lyon,
your
when they have
dummies.
more than 3 times, the absentee, does council have right to remove him?
Yes, but
So
I would
I
do
think
that at
Uh-oh,
a
here
council
comes
meeting.
Yolanda.
Yeah, it should be put on the agenda to remove for that reason.
Uh-oh.
She needs to
Yolanda.
submit a permission to speak.
No, this is serious. I was outside, so I apologize. I was very much interested in Mr. Castro's appointee to the Finance Advisory Board. Did you give somebody already? Did you already say something on that?
Yes.
So who's it? Who's Pablo Lopez?
Javier Gonzalez.
Eh?
Javier
Finance
Gonzalez.
Advisory Board,
Uh-huh.
Javier Gonzalez.
Oh, what? Javier Gonzalez? What the hell? Javier Gonzalez, the little short guy? That,
Wait a minute,
Yolanda,
you cannot-
please.
you
I'm
cannot
sorry,
do
I
that.
apologize.
Please, Yolanda.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Well, okay, but
You're not gonna listen, you're not
Mickey
gonna.
Rooney just died.
I take that back. I mean, this is the little short.
That's okay, but you have to keep your,
Yes, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay, I'm going to make a correction. Javier Gonzalez for Finance Advisory Board, and for the Business
No.
Improvement District,
Oh.
Lalo Lopez.
oh, is that what your real intention was?
Yes.
Okay. Do you note that? He's reversed it. He had it mistaken.
Javier Gonzalez for the
Let us know
finance.
when you want to stop the meeting again, okay?
Okay. No, I need to move forward.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You just wanted to know because you're on that advice, so.
Yes, and
Okay.
the other thing I wanted to ask Mr. Kim about the finance, for Greg, because I mean, if we go by the bylaws that we have for the Finance Advisory Board, everybody would be gone. So Greg's unfortunately hasn't been able to attend because he's busy and all these other little things. So I don't know if you want to consider appointing somebody else or,
Not now yet, he has family medical issues.
oh, okay.
Okay, let's move on, Yolanda,
Okay.
please. Okay. Item number 8. It's acknowledging.
All three.
Yeah. So acknowledged on item number 8.
Acknowledge 9.
But let me acknowledge receipt of the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Calexico Asset Transfer Review Report, January 1st, 2011 through January 31st, 2012, and dated March 2014. Acknowledge, number 9, the receipt of a single audit reports for the year end June 30th, 2013, Number 10, acknowledge the receipt of the Beautification Commission minutes of November 20th, 2013. So acknowledged?
Acknowledged.
Okay, all right then. Future agenda items. Mayor Pro Tem, John
I'm just
Moreno.
waiting for the actual list of what we've asked for. And that's all I'm asking for.
Okay.
Then
We
I
do
can
have a
pick up-
draft, we do have a draft, and I'll be
Okay.
reviewing it so we can get it to you.
Yeah, and then we'll know what we've picked, and we'll know what we need to do.
Right, we got quite a few items.
I know, okay.
Okay, Councilman Kim.
Well, I'm gonna save time. I believe I asked the request 2 items, it's not been here.
All right.
So I'll make sure next meeting I want to have 2.
I will personally move on that for you, sir.
I will too.
Okay? All right then. Councilwoman Hurtado.
I agree with Mr. Moreno, Mayor Pro Tem Moreno, that maybe we should allow for what we've already submitted to be worked on.
All right, very good. Councilman Castro, future agenda items.
Future agenda item. Yes, I would like to put in the, for the future agenda, related to the municipal swimming pool.
Oh, it's gonna come next.
That is Councilman Kim's.
It's coming next week.
Oh, okay.
He requested it,
Okay.
and
The other issue is, I would like to have the full report for that Thursday workshop or meeting with LAFCO related to the
absolutely, that's very good.
connection at
The Border
I
Patrol.
believe, I recommend all the council members attend to
Yes.
this. They can.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, thank you. And no future agenda item for me, Mr. City Manager, except I appreciate the effort, but I'm still not happy about the cleaning up of the Calexico entrance. There's just too many weeds. I don't know, Caltrans said they did their part?
Yeah, we've been checking with Caltrans because, yeah, they said they did their
They
part,
did
so
not do
we're
their
talking to
part.
them
I mean,
about that.
If they did, it's half, you know
Okay,
what.
and that's what we're talking to them about, so that we can get them out of the way, and that Advance has donated to clean the medium. So we're trying to
I
get
know Mr. Quinn
Caltrans
is
out of
gonna-
the way so we can get the
But our
medium
part
taken care
also,
of.
there's a lot of weeds. So we
Right,
need
and
to
from the
beautify.
fence into our property, I know Sandra's been working on trying to do a volunteer program where as soon as we clean the medium, we would go forward and do that.
All right, can we get a Caltrans person down to look at this? Mr. Figgy? Mr.
We'll
Figgy?
have Nick talk to them.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.